Greetings, HP Touchpad users. This is Reverend Kyle, your Minister of Mobile Devices. And in this video, we're going to discuss a topic that has been brought up several times, and I'm finally going to take an official stance on it, and that is the nightly builds. Some of you may or may not be aware. I'll bring you all up to speed here. A nightly build is when the developers take all of the things that they've been working on, and instead of making one big official build every couple weeks or months, they put out everything that they've got so far into one file, and they call it a nightly. Now, up to this point, there hasn't been an official nightly. There has been, however, unofficial nightly builds for the HP Touchpad. That's all well and good, but having that word unofficial in front of it has always kind of steered me away from actually loading them. Now, some of you have tried them, and some of you have had great success with them, and that's fantastic. But what I want to share with you today is the fact that the Cyanogenmod team has finally taken a stance, and they have built official nightly builds for the HP Touchpad. Now, this is the website where you would download these official nightly builds. I'll put a link to this in the video description. Now, I do want to share with you two things. Number one, there's been two official nightly builds. One has been on March 27th, and then the most recent one, which is today, is March 29th. Now, this is the one that really excites me quite a bit, is that the 329 build has a couple really important things. Number one, it has some improvements to graphics and in video. It has some improvements to just overall stability. It also adds in the new Android 4.0.4 ice cream sandwich build, which has a couple fun little things built into it. There has been some fixes done, such as the reboot and shutdown has been fixed a bit. And then there's the big thing, which is updated Wi-Fi drivers. Now, I have to admit that a lot of you have had Wi-Fi issues and have been constantly struggling with connecting your Wi-Fi. Well, they've gone to great lengths to give you a new and more updated Wi-Fi driver. So thanks to the developers who worked on that. You know who you are. You guys rock. So what I have done is I have downloaded this particular file here from this website, and I have placed it onto my HP Touchpad, and I'm going to go and download that, or rather flash that to my HP Touchpad. Now again, this is an official nightly build. The unofficial builds still exist, and you can play with them as you choose, but I like the idea. I like to stand behind the fact that this is an official nightly build from the Cyanogenmod team. Now, one other thing I do want to throw in here is that some of you have had problems flashing nightly builds and have had to reflash your GApps, your Market and Gmail and all of that. You've had to reflash your GApps afterwards. Now, I have to say that flashing this, I'm using the March 17th GApps on my touchpad currently with the Alpha 2, and it has been working fine. I'm anticipating that once I flash this nightly build that I will not have to reload my GApps. However, if for some reason I do, I can always just reflash it using Clockwork Recovery. So let's get started. I'm going to switch over to my touchpad with this file on it, and we'll flash it and see what happens. So first things first, let's take a look and see what kind of files I have on my touchpad. I'm going to go into ES File Explorer. And just in case anybody is wondering, this is the Alpha 2 that I have running of Ice Cream Sandwich, or CM9. I've made a folder on my touchpad called Nightlies, and I'm going to go into that. And I have two files here. One of them is the nightly build from 329, which is today. And then there is also the GApps file, the one that I'm encouraging you to flash if you haven't already. Now again, if you already have this version installed, you shouldn't have to flash anything. For the purposes of this video, because I know people have issues, we're going to flash this file anyway. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reboot, and I'm going to go into recovery. Now, one thing that I have noticed right before I decided to do this was that my battery was dying, and the last thing you want to do is have a dead battery. So word to the wise, make sure you have a decent charge before you decide to do any type of flashing. Okay, so we're in Clockwork Recovery module now. Just make sure this is nice and crisp here for you. We are going to go into install zip from SD card, and I am using the volume control and the home button to choose this. And I'm going to choose the zip from the SD card, and I'm going to go down and find my Nightly's folder. Now you don't have to put it in a Nightly's folder. I just did that to keep things neat. And I'm going to go to the Nightly build and choose yes. And while this is loading, just to recap, I was on Alpha 2, CM9 Alpha 2. You could easily do this install from CM7, or you could do it from a different Nightly. The intention of the Nightlys is that you can just keep loading them on top of whatever version you have on there currently. And then after you load it, you clear your cache and your Dalvik cache, and then off you go. And again, that's also assuming that you already have a GApps version that's compatible, which the 3.17 or the March 17th version is what we're going to load here, just to make certain that we're getting the right stuff. Okay, so we've installed the Nightly build, but I am going to go back in, choose a different zip, and go back down to my Nightlys again. And this time I'm going to install the GApps file, which is the 2012-0317. I'll put a link to that also in the video description if you don't already know where to get that. This is a rather small file, so this doesn't take long to install. Okay, so that's done. Let's go back to the main screen here, and we're going to do the wipe cache partition. Wipe cache partition just gets rid of some of the files that have been cached from your previous build. This is something that will rebuild itself, just like if you clear your cache on your browser. Then we're going to go into advanced, and we're going to wipe the Dalvik cache. Similar concept, just a little bit different usage. And there we go. So now we'll go back and we will reboot the system now and see what kind of new action we get. Now, the first thing you're going to see when you reboot here is my Moboot screen. And this Moboot screen was designed for me by a gentleman named MindSplit. If you're curious as to how you can get a Moboot screen like this, I do have videos on how to customize the Moboot screen. You can also I'll put a link to this image if you want to use this image as well. So thanks to him for making that for me. So I'm going to boot Cyanogenmod now. And one of the new fun things that was added to this Nightly was the current Cyanogenmod 9 animation, the boot animation. This was completely redesigned, and this is the first time you'll be seeing this in one of my videos. I, for one, like the new animation. So I'll give you the typical spiel here. New build, new ROM, new installation. So obviously the initial startup process, the initial boot, will take a bit longer than you have seen in previous boots. Actually, that wasn't too bad. Now it's going to go through an upgrade. It's going to optimize all of your applications. This is customary and not a big deal. Now, I did speed that up for the purposes of the video. That took a few minutes for all of those to optimize. All right, so I am back. Like I said, my My battery life was a little lacking there. Probably shouldn't have done this for safety purposes, but 25% is adequate, I guess. Okay, so let's open this guy up, and it looks like everything is running correctly. Let's go in and check and see if the Play Store operates. Okay, looks like it works okay. Go into apps, staff picks for tablets, sure, why not? Okay, so seems to be running okay. Go back to home, take a look here at menu and all of that. All right, it looks like email's working. Let's go in and take a look at our system settings here. Of course, I didn't hit what I wanted to. All right, settings. And we'll go down to About Tablet. So let's see what we have here. It looks like we've got Android 4.0.4. Looks like kernel is close to the same. It shows that you're on the nightly from 3/29 and the build date, build number, and all of that stuff. So that all seems to be pretty nice and neat. I'm not going to go further into details here. You know, your standard games and whatnot are going to work, and everything should be much smoother in terms of your Wi-Fi capabilities. The driver's being completely rewritten, so I'm hoping that that some of you find the resolution that you've been hoping for all this time. Just to be clear, this doesn't make the camera or the microphone work. It doesn't change any of the huge inherent things that people have been yammering about. Unfortunately, those things are still quite a ways off, so please don't ask if those things are going to occur. I will take the time here also to push the Rev TV Android app. Please come take a look at this here. You can find it by searching Rev TV on the Android market. It is a free app. Gives you access to all of my Twitter and video updates, as well as gives you a RSS feed to anything that's happening on the forums in my website, which happens to be www.reverendkyle.com. If you do have questions or just looking for a little bit of guidance or some fun, please come check out my website. So this has been Reverend Kyle, showing you how to upgrade your touchpad to the latest nightly.